Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
When one looks into the human heart, we can see it is a collection of desires. From the basic necessities to the more complex social desires of wealth, honor, and knowledge. But there appears a point within every human heart that yearns for something different. It desires to know only one thing. What is the meaning of my life? Welcome to The Point.
Montie, tell me where you grew up.
I grew up in a small town in central Texas. Very simple lifestyle, low populations, one high school, one mall, that sort of environment. It was kind of stifling because I always had questions about things at a very early age that just kind of rubbed people the wrong way. What's the point in my life? What's the seat of consciousness? What's the base essence of things? Parents were very simple, fundamentalist religious beliefs, very simple, keep it down to earth, sort of thing. And
so how did you ask the question about consciousness?
In the verbiage that I just described, I was just like, what's the seat of our consciousness? What makes us aware? Because I always believed it was something more than just a physiological phenomena. Parents were like, don't worry about that. It's basically what I got. It was, don't worry about that.
So, did you continue to worry about that?
Oh, I couldn't let it go. It drove me. I stayed in my room and I read encyclopedias. That was my hobby, much to my parents' concern, because I wasn't out there, playing ball or things like that. I always wanted to be to myself and reading. Ended up me taking an interest in various fields. I ended up wanting to really be in the medical field, and actually later on in life, I ended up being a nurse in the U.S. Army. But it led me also to the point that I'm like, okay, the answer isn't here. The casualties were coming in to Walter Reed, is where I ultimately ended up stationed. And I ended up, they wanted to keep me here in the U.S. just because the casualties were so overwhelming. Wow. I wanted to go and serve my country and do something altruistic and test my mettle and that sort of thing. But that's not the way it turned out.
Did that give you more questions about life or different questions about life?
Well, that in conjunction with a lot of the suffering I've seen in life made me wonder why. Why are these people suffering? What's the point? Is the sole purpose in our life just to suffer? I couldn't bring myself to believe that everything was random and that we were only here to suffer. And I wanted to help other people realize that the point of their life is not suffering.
But did you know what the point of life was?
Didn't know.
Did you feel that you were able to help those people in that situation?
And not so much by my physical ministrations, but more so just being there in other capacities. Just trying to befriend people, give them a sense of just showing them some sort of empathy, and consoling them in regards to none of it's pointless. I wasn't absolutely sure none of it was pointless, but I wanted to provide a sort of comfort, and that was more important for me to do that.
So you have somebody whose body's busted up, and you're telling them it's okay, man, because it's there's a point to life. You must have in the back of your head been saying, "Geez, I hope that's true."
Well, it wasn't so much I was trying to tell them that it wasn't pointless, but that their life goes on afterwards. This is not the end of their life. I didn't try to impose any theories on them or anything like that. I just want to let them know that this is not the end.
It sounds like you did things that what the world thinks of as helping people, right? But somehow that wasn't helping people?
No, I felt like I was not addressing the true good or doing a truly altruistic act because I didn't have the means. I didn't know. I had this urge to do something and didn't have the tools to do it. And so while I was acting on two fronts. I was being altruistic in corporeality, helping people in tangible means, but I wasn't satisfied that I was helping them enough and giving them something permanent. I wanted to give people something permanent. And no matter what I did for them, for their bodies, it just wasn't enough, and it wasn't gonna give me what I needed. I know this sounded selfish, but yes, I was doing it for me too. I had to fulfill that need. At that point in my life, I wasn't content with, I realized my goal in life wasn't to have a traditional profession and be about my life in a traditional way. By that point, the question and the urge to find something transcendent was just overwhelming, and it started to affect my life in a way that some people would say it wasn't good, but for me it was wonderful.
What were you trying to transcend, and what was this other place or thing or something that you were thinking about?
I've always felt that there was something, a force that was in charge of things, and I wanted to be in contact with it. I can't even describe it. And I felt that the thing limiting me was me. I felt that it wasn't, something in me had to change. A little while later, I realized that I had to love people.
This is something that dawned on you?
This just dawned on me, that I didn't love enough, and that somewhere love and awareness and all those things were tied together. Because everyone thinks they're fine. Everyone thinks something outside of them needs to change, but that's not really the case. Otherwise, everybody would be where they want to be in life and where they need to be. So I sought to try to find things that would change the way I perceived and felt about other people. I'd already exhausted physical sciences and the religious upbringing I'd had. It wasn't there. So then I started trying, okay, maybe let's find out what spirituality is. And I went, and this sounds so cliche, I Googled spirituality.
Oh my goodness. How many pages did you get?
An infinite amount of pages. And the time I spent searching through them seemed infinite as well.
Yeah.
I went through everything. I exhausted everything. Some of it, at this point, I wonder, why did I go there? That was cheesy. That was childish. I should have known better than search there or engage in that. But I was a desperate person, because to me it just wasn't worth it to live 70 years and hope to acquire some wealth and hope to leave behind a good impression with other people. I found a book called Awakening to Kabbalah. I was like, okay, I'll try, but I'm going to scan these pages, and if it's some crazy tarot card stuff, I'm putting the book down. And I opened the book and didn't find that at all, and was glued to it. I'm talking about walking down the sidewalk, reading a book, oblivious to everything around me, that sort of thing. And that sensation when you encounter truth is just the most blissful thing. I was just like, oh, what's this? What's this I found? I've stumbled upon something here. I read that book in like 2 days. I didn't put it down.
What was it that said this is truth? What did you see in that book?
It addressed that the change, in fact, did need to happen. I'd always felt I needed to change, and that's exactly what it told me. The key is your perception. The key, the root essence. All of those things are based upon one thing, your perception. You have to change it. I'm like, I knew that. No one else told me that. I knew it. And finally, someone's telling me that, yes, that's right. You have to change how you perceive. Here's the method.
Here's the method.
Yes. And I found a method. See, that's another thing. A method is everything. If you don't have a method, all you have are theories and ideas, and this is a method. And it wasn't lofty and haughty or anything like that. It didn't deal with abstractions. I didn't read an author trying to show off how deep his knowledge is. No. So I felt like somebody was trying to, okay, you have a need. This need of yours that you think is so unique, it's not a unique need. People have this need at a certain point in their existence, and this is how you address it. This is how you fulfill it. I really thought I cared about other people, and what I cared about was how I felt about caring about other people. Sounds convoluted, I know, but the more I delved into it, I realized that I was doing everything in my life, everything in my existence was for my own personal gain, which is a really hard thing to face. So that which is beyond me is the actual intention for someone else's benefit with no personal gain. I was like, that's impossible. That was my first response. I'm like, oh, psh, get out of here. Come on, no personal. You're hardwired. You can't thwart that hardwiring. There's nothing you can do about it. And then something said, you know what? You don't know that till you try it. At least test it on a scientific basis. Mm-hmm. It doesn't agree with you, fine. But if you're really as objective as you think you are, if you're really the scientist that you think you are and you have this scientific approach to life, then you will delve into it. You will conduct the experiment to see if there's any merit to it. Other people are important to me. Other people's welfare is important to me. I've also found out that I don't have all the answers and that there are other people with the same goal that I have. And that the only way to realize it is together. And that's also threw me for a loop. What? Oh, I got to rely on someone else to achieve my goal? Get out of here. I didn't know. I don't work well with others. I don't want to work well with others in that capacity. It's just a lack of trust. I realized I didn't trust people. I didn't trust others, with my spiritual welfare, with what I had with my hopes and my dreams. My whole goal now is to reciprocate the love that I feel from others, the love that I feel around me. And my whole goal now is to reciprocate that. Before, I didn't know what I was shooting for. Something lofty, something, wow, metaphysical. Now it seems laughable because the true metaphysics, the true transcendence is actually thwarting this program, this hardwiring, and actually loving someone else and caring about someone else with no gain. I'm still dazzled by it. Sometimes I'm daunted by the task with no personal gain.
But we do gain anyway, though, don't we? I mean, in the loving, like right now, I'm going on this trip with you. It's a very beautiful trip, and I'm getting a point of view that I wouldn't have had. I wouldn't have seen that particular path through this adventure. I don't think I can help getting something from you by feeling this with you.